I grew up on Tumblr, which coincidentally was the same sentence written down on my therapy intake papers. I've spent a lot of time roaming around that hell site, and now I'm going to inflict the pain that I have suffered on you. If you don't know much about Tumblr, around the early 2010s, a lot of different subcultures popped up. You may have heard from a couple of them on YouTube or from news stories about people stealing bones, but there's a lot to go through, and it can really tell you a lot about a person when you don't know anything about them to know which Tumblr subculture they grew up in. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and categorize villagers against their will into the part of Tumblr that they thrived on most as a teenager. We're going back to the 2010s, so I am looking for cringe, I am looking for anything that I would regret in my past and anything that they would regret in their past. So I have the top villagers. This is making me so angry. Like, why? Why did we have to do this? Why are there some PNGs and some non-PNGs? I'm pissed about it. Anyway. And we have a lot of tiers because I didn't want to leave anybody out. I think it's very important that we really cover our bases today and I can get through as much trauma as possible and I don't have to tell my friends about it in a little funny haha story that ends up turning out to be a horror novel. Up top we have Super Hulock, which is probably one that you commonly know about even if you weren't too deep in the Tumblr ecosystem. Super Hulock was comprised of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock. These three shows absorbed teenage girls and girl adjacents and people who would no longer be girls when they were older, and probably some men, I guess. I never saw men on Tumblr. These were all either CW shows, BBC shows. Everybody was chaotic over it. There were constant wars. It was like trying to pit two dogs against each other who were both covered in peanut butter and chasing their own tails. It's basically a death wish of its own proportions, and I'm glad that this era was over, but it was fun to observe from the sidelines. Hannibal is also sometimes grouped in with this, but I don't agree with that, to be quite honest with you. These were the most feral people on Tumblr at the time, and we all remember them because we all have a terrifying experience with a supernatural gif. Next we have Toxic Girl, which is an interesting thing because I don't think this is gendered, it was just the aesthetic was very feminine. You may have recognized this in the recent years of your life on TikTok, and that's because it's making a bit of a resurgence. This was the Melanie Martinez, I Smoke to Die, black eyeliner kind of girl who posted whispers about how she wanted to like rule the world, and honestly, I respect it, I loved it. That was a fun time and a fun way to see evil women thrive, and I appreciate them. I appreciate any evil women I can. Next we have Divergent, Hunger Games, and The Fault in Our Stars, etc. with a W because I forgot, fuck me. It's fine. Anyway, Divergent, Hunger Games, The Fault in Our Stars were basically the trendy version of Super Hulock, even possibly before Super Hulock in some cases. This was for the strong, independent person who was super feminist, super artsy, loved perks of being a wallflower, probably was a Harry Potter stan for a while until, you know, J.K. Rowling decided to exist as a human being outside of her work and make the shittiest takes you've ever seen on Earth and make you kind of want to drain the blood from her eyes. But this was a very nerdy, booky kind of subculture that really thrived on being not like other girls, I would say. That was kind of the main thing for this subculture, and it's important to our history because it was honestly the time that the John Greencock monologue first found its footing. Next we have Current Tumblr User, which is for all of the aged, saged, horrifying adults that exist now and are still on Tumblr, never deleted their account, and still post daily, aka me. I love Tumblr, but these are very jaded, fucked up individuals who still need to go probably take their meds. If you haven't taken your meds yet and you're watching this video, go take your meds. I know you have some. These people are in their 20s to 30s. These people have probably seen all of the other subcultures come by and go past and still ended up being here. They stayed after the 2018 Tumblr NSFW ban. Everything in this existence is hell and I hate it. Scene Girls was pretty 2012, I would say. We had a good run with that. I love Scene. Scene is one of my favorite subcultures ever. It can kind of blend in with emo, so I'm gonna like keep those two things together even though they're very different, but those two subcultures tended to coexist in the same spaces and post about the same type of thing, so I'm going to go ahead and group that together for this, but only because I couldn't add another thing. Everything quirky, everything bright, neon, candy bracelets, Invader Zim, animatics, 303. Everything about Scene was bright and annoying and in your face, and that's why I love it so much. If you had checkered hair in this subcategory, you were considered God and worshipped at the altar. All of the people who were in this now have nose piercings and tattoos. Next we have Hipster. Hipster was what was called the common Tumblr girl by people who had never been on Tumblr before. The aesthetic images, the bikes, the bangs, the Zoella, the YouTube, the Christian girl autumn photographer vibes, you know the one. Black coffee, handlebar mustaches. Remember the mustaches? Do you remember the mustaches? Hipster was thriving on Tumblr and it looked exactly what you would think it would look like. It was not a stereotype. However, it's honestly one of the least common things I've seen here. Hipster was not as common as fandom or toxic girls or whatever. whatever. Hipster was a bit frowned upon, to be quite honest, but it was really cute. You could also call it twee. There were a lot of people who called it twee. Social justice is exactly what it sounds like. I was on this side of Tumblr. Now I'm just like tired, I think. It was a good run. Check out Sonic for Real Justice if you want a trip. Fake story producer. Tumblr is home to a lot of very good and very fantastic fake stories, including Opa Homeless Style, 3 Weed Smoking Girlfriends, Down with Sis Bus. Down with Sis Bus is my personal favorite, as are they them, obviously. Alexandria's Genesis. If you made these fake stories, you not only got so much attention, but you were considered an absolute deity for a while until everybody grew up and realized that you were lying out of your ass, which is what I did for a living for a long time. I would lie on Tumblr, and that was great, and I got a lot of notes and I got a lot of attention, and now I'm home. Rightblr. I was also on Rightblr. I am a writer as an adult. That is my job, and Rightblr was the most hellish thing I've ever been a part of. I wish it on nobody. In fact, I did get doxxed on Rightblr. Thank you. This is for the fan fiction writers. This is for the people who wanted to be published. This is for the people who called me slurs in DMs. This is for everybody who ever posted their writing on Tumblr. Also, I hope that girl I met from there is doing well and that she did get out of prison. Bone Stealing Witch. I mentioned this a little bit as a joke in the beginning of the video. This is for any kind of witchy, spooky side of Tumblr. There was a lot of that, a lot of like gothic aesthetics, a lot of witchcraft. That was a really popular thing on Tumblr and still is. But I used Bone Stealing Witch as the poster child because that is the most memorable thing I think we can take from this, is a woman stealing bones and making a necklace out of toe bones that somebody sent her. That was fun. Don't steal bones. I'm not saying to steal bones, but if I could acquire bones ethically, I think it would be sick as fuck to wear a bone necklace. I won't lie to you. Let's get going, finally. Did you like my explanation of the entire Tumblr ecosystem? I hope you did. First off, we have Judy. Oh my god. Okay, this is obvious to me. This is so obvious to me, and I will explain. This is absolute toxic girl energy. 100%. Judy was a toxic girl before the toxic girl was invented. A lot of the aesthetics, especially like the Melanie Martinez side of things, that was very popular in the toxic girl subculture. And does she not look like it? Like, she has the really dark defined eyeliner. She probably called a man a slut on Tumblr, and I love that for her. You know, she was really putting in the work. She was doing everything. She's got the pastels. She probably had like a poster in her room of the 1975 and then said she doesn't like the 1975. She's got very interesting ideals. She thinks that everything needs to revolve around her because she's some kind of like Jennifer's Body sort of maniac. Love Judy. She has a collection of empty liquor bottles all filled with flowers. It's fantastic. Lucky. Oh, this is fantastic. I feel like Lucky could go into so many different categories because he's such a malleable person. I feel like I could see pretty much anything going well for him, but I'm drawn to a couple in particular. I'm drawn to Scene Girls because I feel like he would definitely have been a scene girl. I'm also drawn to Bone Stealing Witch, obviously, but weirdly, I'm kind of also drawn to Current Tumblr User because I think he really just represents the dead state of the website that I live on right now. So it's really hard, this one. I don't know. I'm trying to look into his past. I'm trying to find a tortured past here that this man has because I know it's there because I've seen it with my own eyes. I know 100% that this man has a weird, twisted past where he wrote John Locke fanfiction as well. I'm gonna put him in Current Tumblr User because I feel like I would definitely see him just like getting reblogged every once in a while, making a really weird joke that people still like. You know, maybe drinking some potions, talking about a blorbo. I really like that. I like that. I think that's the right choice for him, but I feel like he could go into any of these, and this was maybe something that he dabbled in before. Bone Stealing Witch could be something that he dabbled in because he's very witchy. Whitney. Ooh, I think I already have one for her. Whitney reminds me very much of somebody who is super confident and speaks her opinion a lot. She will barge into your house with a take. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, but she is in your DM. She once fought a porn bot because she thought it was a real person trying to get her to fuck, which is why I'm gonna put her in social justice. I think she was definitely fighting. She was on the front lines of social justice Tumblr, fighting with like a cishet man. I feel like definitely. Prove me wrong. Okay, prove me wrong. Find her old Tumblr account and prove me wrong, because I feel like she also had one of those like little she/her buttons on her blog that says this Tumblr user is a she/her, and she had it on DeviantArt too. Like a she/her, that's what they did because that was Tumblr in 2014. They thems weren't really quite accepted yet, so everybody was talking really weird about it. Whitney, I love you. I'm glad that you are such a confident and amazing person nowadays. She's gorgeous, she's beautiful, but like that's the kind of phase you have to go through to get to that woman. Proud of her. I'm deeply proud of her. Whitney, you're a god. Genuinely, I'm glad that you have truly found your footing footing. She's probably still dabbling in it a little bit, honestly. I feel like she would be a good ally, but she's also a bitch. Maple. Maple is one of my good friend's favorite villagers, and quite honestly, that's why I don't want to be too mean here. I feel like this is such a specific brand of person, and I mean it with like my whole heart. She reminds me of a graham cracker, very cinnamony, and that's not a bad thing. You know, I love a graham cracker every once in a while. I really do. Maple has a quality that I feel like she was definitely involved in some fandom space. 100%. I don't see her as Super Hulock. I see her as Hunger Games, The Fault in Our Stars, Divergent, etc. because she was absolutely posting okay quotes and falling in love with Katniss Everdeen before she even knew she was bisexual. I love you, Maple, and I'm glad that you got out of that phase, because I swear to God, every time I see a picture of Hazel, I feel like I'm gonna die. I feel like slow, tiny needles are poking through my head and my eyelids are bursting. I cannot bear that anymore, okay? I lived it. I lived through it. I'm done. Apple. Me and Apple have beef, and even though I'm a vegetarian, I am fucking scared of her. I am tired of Apple, okay? I am tired of Apple. Everything she does scares the shit out of me, and I'm tired of looking into her stupid little eyes, and I want to make a bad choice here, and I want to put her in one of the subcultures that was more toxic, but I feel like I also have to stay true to my motives here. I really want to be kind, and I want to give this prompt justice. She was on Rightblr. Trust me on this, okay? I'm sorry. If you weren't there, I can understand how it would seem like she was not on Rightblr. She was the person who doxed me on Rightblr for sure. This woman definitely wrote like a fanfic that had lemons in the title. You remember when it was called Lemons? You remember when it was called Lemons? God, I sure do. AO3 was a cesspool. Fanfiction.net was a cesspool. Wattpad is the most confusing place I've ever been on. And she wrote some kind of... What words am I allowed to say on YouTube? Because I really want to say one thing, but I just don't know if I'm allowed to say it. She ships Sam and Dean in Supernatural. Thank you. Was that too gross? Was that too gross? It was probably too gross. Anyway, don't do that, by the way. She is terrifying to me. Every single bone in her body has been like infected with nuclear waste, and she now knows every single person's time of death. Lily, whose head is being cut off right now. Fantastic. Lily is such a sweet girl. She's such an adorable little baby with like nothing to hide, which is why I'm having problems here, because every single person on this list would have something to hide. Like if she was a Tumblr user, what is she hiding? What could she possibly be hiding? She's too kind for this. She's too good for this world. God, Lily, she is so perfect. I feel like she could almost be in the hipster category. Is that insane? Is that an insane take on my part? Because it feels a little bit wrong, but at the same time, I feel like she could have been more in the twee area of hipster, where it was like plaid and Peter Pan collars and that kind of bullshit, you know? Very, very bangs, very, very like listening to audiobooks as she strolls down to the coffee shop to get a dark roast blend. I think that she moved away from the pretentious side of it pretty quickly, but she was there for a bit. I'm gonna go with hipster because I feel like it. You know what? You can suck my nuts, okay? Everything she does is perfect, and I forgive her for her past, whatever it was. Rolled is currently on my island. Surprise, surprise. This guy is completely empty-headed, which is very interesting to me. I think that he could be anywhere on this spectrum, but at the same time, I don't think he knew enough to be on the social justice scale, so I'm gonna like go ahead and mark that off. I feel like Rold has a tendency to fib and lie a little bit, and so do I, buddy. I love lying. I like lying to people. I think lying is a fun activity for when you're bored and you're tired and you just need a little bit of time off and you want to tell a little bit of a lie. That's fine. But I feel like he also could have been a top tier shit poster. You remember the top tier shit posters like Biggest Gaudius Patronus, I Am a Goldfish, Vampire Apologist. These are all pillars of the community, and I feel like Rold could have secretly been one, but I don't have a category for that, so I'm gonna go with fake story producer, because I know a lot of the shit posts that those people made were probably fake now that I think about it. I would really like to go through and read all of the fake stories from Tumblr, because I think that would be a kick. You know, None Pizza with Left Beef just turned 10. That was not a fake post, but now I feel old and like I'm deteriorating away and that they need to send me to the nursing home right now because I'm gonna fucking die. I also feel like he could have definitely been on one of those sides of Tumblr where it was like pretending to be a gangster. I feel like that was a thing for a while. You remember those people? I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. You really had to be there. Marshall. Oh boy. Oh boy. Marshall could have been in multiple of these, to be quite honest with you. He's got really emo vibes. I've said before in my videos, he currently lives on my island. He does give off emo vibes. He has the bangs. He has the eyeliner. I feel like he could definitely be in that kind of area. I feel like he might have been an avid stalker of Sixpence when the whole Sixpence Heels thing was going on. I feel like he's very into all of the drama. I know where he's gonna go, actually. And see, this is why I had to preface beforehand that Toxic Girl is gender neutral, because he was the toxic emo kid in that area, okay? He was absolutely into leather jackets, he was into like greaser culture, he was into that kind of bullshit that everybody was talking about. He probably like ordered a vodka soda and then threw it up every single night because you can't drink hard liquor, but he was trying. This guy is absolutely part of the Toxic Girl, definitely like a Black Veil Brides fan, probably Panic for a while, entrenched in the poetry side, in that really pretentious part of the Toxic Girl. I love that for him, honestly. That's perfect. I'm so right all the time, actually. That was a good idea. Marshall, I hope you find peace, because that's a really hard thing to recover from. Honestly though, it really will build you some confidence. Marina and the Diamonds, that was also a big part of it, and he was definitely a Marina stan, which helped him come out. Raymond, listen, okay, I'm not putting all of them that I hate in right blur. I promise to you, he is just such an asshole. Like, I feel like he was one of those people who said, DM me for story rates or beta readers, and then he would just rip you to shreds and say that you're going to hell and that you didn't write Sherlock and Watson being erotic the right way. I don't know. This guy was reviewing fan fiction. This guy was telling you how to contact agents, but then he would totally give you the wrong advice just so you would fail and his book would be published. He was definitely trying to show somebody who had worked in the writing industry for years and was just having a Tumblr side blog as fun, random shit out of format for publishing. Fuck around and find out. Honestly, at this point. Coco, oh my god, my beloved. I fucking love Coco. She is a beautiful soul, okay? She might be terrifying. She might be a relic of times past and hold the souls of a dead spirit, but that is why she is so perfect for Bone Stealing Witch. Coco could not be any more perfect for this. She was making spell jars, she was making sigils, she was one of the pioneers of Tumblr witchcraft, okay? You remember that era. You remember the era where everybody was obsessed with pentagrams. She has a pentagram tattoo and she's proud of it. She's not as proud of it as she used to be, but you know what? It's fine. It's on her body forever and she doesn't necessarily regret it, but it's not her favorite choice she's ever made. Coco absolutely would wear a toe necklace, but it would be ethically sourced and she would not steal the bones. I promise you that one. Even though this is the Bone Stealing Witch category, that's just their mascot. I love Coco so much. I feel like she would be an incredible like mother witch. I love her so much. Lolly. Ooh. Okay, this is interesting because I feel like we could really go anyway with Lolly. I think Lolly might be our first Super Hulockian. Super Hulock was such a phenomenon where it could suck you in when you were from any neck of the woods at all. Like, you could be from anywhere and it would suck you in, and I feel like she was especially into the Doctor Who side, which you don't see a lot. You normally see people who are more into Sherlock or Supernatural. You don't see as many people pulling up for Doctor Who, I would say, but I feel like she was just special like that. She was really into Doctor Who. She really liked David Tennant's Doctor the best, but she loved every single episode. She was really into Rose. She was probably also on the Sonic side of Tumblr. I feel like I remember the Sonic side of Tumblr a bit. She probably made a couple good animatics, you know? This girl was involved, but she wasn't involved in the drama as much, and I think she ran away a couple times because she was scared of people. I think her experience on Tumblr forever changed her as a human and taught her not to ever talk to human beings that have like the word guts in their username. I had the word guts in my username. Zucker. This is kind of hard. What would Zucker do on Tumblr? That's my question. What would he be doing there? What kind of business would this man have on Tumblr? And you may be thinking to yourself, well, this is pretty obvious. I would say hipster. No, he wasn't. He wasn't hipster, absolutely. He was away from all of that. He was immune to propaganda for once in his life. I feel like he definitely follows like shifty thrifting, negative feedback, that kind of thing, like the more niche Tumblr pages. He's giving off the very much AMV, OCs, rave music scene girl. He's got a good collection of monster tabs that he plans to make into a necklace, and all of that has made him into the person he is today, which is somebody who takes no shit and is very comfortable in themselves and comfortable in their own skin, which I think is why he's so popular. He's got so much going for him, but he had to learn from the scene era. He had to learn. I think he was pretty revered in the community. I think he had a really good stance going. He had some really fried side bangs, I would say. He could definitely be a side bang kind of guy. Maybe even a lip ring and there's still a hole in his mouth from it and he wears it with pride. He was definitely very affected when all of the shit about Ronnie Radke started really coming to light, and I wanted your collection of knee-high Converse. Punchy is off the shit, and we all know that the 3 weed smoking girlfriends is his favorite Tumblr story because he made it up. Yep. Yep, I've decided it just now. I have fucking decided it. Punchy wrote the 3 weed smoking girlfriends post and he's proud of it, okay? He thought it was a joke at the time. He was not being serious, but now that it's blown up, he's kind of transformed into a character and now he can't escape it. Now he is that very violent, bad person. And I think at this point, Punchy is a founding member of Tumblr. Punchy is somebody who has been a veteran on Tumblr for so long, but left it all behind. He was there for the Cole Sprouse Tumblr experiment. Everything he posted on there was fake and for reblogs and for attention. He just really wanted people to give him attention and he got it. Goddamn, he got it. But now he works at like a video store that's about to close down and it's like the last blockbuster in the country and he's scared and he's terrified for his life. But all he's built is a foundation of lies and I think that's why he needs to go into fake story producer. It's very important to me that he goes there and I think it's the perfect place for him. Punchy, you're fantastic. Oh boy, Audie. This is interesting. This is interesting. Ooh. I feel like we could go a lot of different places with her. She seems to be a very strong-willed person. I feel like she has definitely gotten into a lot of fights, but she mostly stayed to herself. This is hard because I'm trying to think of the people I know who turned out like this, and I'm trying to think of where they were on the Tumblr spectrum. I feel like, to be quite honest with you, I could definitely see Miss Audie in the toxic girl area. I don't know. I feel like she really healed from it mentally, but still likes the style and stuff, which is totally fine. I really like the style too. It's a beautiful style. The rhetoric and stuff on there was very bad, but I feel like she has learned from that and she has become better. However, she still keeps the traits with her locked up in a little tiny heart locket. And I love that. Honestly, you gotta carry your past with you, and she really is doing a good job at showing it justice while moving away from the hyper insane part of it. I think that that was a really bold move for her. Apollo. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, he was social justice, but he was one of those people who were like, I am one of the few white men who will defend women, and I will stand with women, and I will stand with the LGBTQ and trans people. And then he got like outed later on for being extremely homophobic. Had he known that the sixpence method would work before Sixpence did it, he would have done it. He could have also been very hipster, to be honest, though. I can see both for him, but I think he leans more to the social justice because he wants people to think of him as a good person no matter what his actions are and what he says. I think that he was really like high on that SJW kind of vibe, but not exactly believing what he was saying, just doing it to get the attention of people and to get like brownie points for it. That's what I get from him. That's what I glean from him. I could be wrong though. I don't really know. Fauna. This is hard. This is really hard. I feel like Fauna could have been anything. Hipster is like my first instinct here, but I think that that's wrong. I think that I am like jumping to conclusions, to be quite honest with you. Honestly, I think that Fauna would still be on Tumblr currently. She would be into the more cottagecore subsection of it right now, because that is a thing on Tumblr still. Cottagecore and like woodsy, coquette kind of things are on Tumblr right now. It kind of intersects with trad wives sometimes, which is a scary line to walk, but you know what? I think she does it well. Fauna would definitely still stay on the hell site because it was her routine. You know, she grew up on it. She was there every morning, looking at all of her dashboard posts, reblogging, do you love the color of the sky? She has been here for too long to get off of the train now, even though she hates the website and she thinks that the management is running it wrong. She has a soft spot for it. She has to stay. She's staying together for the kids, if you know what I mean. Listen, I know what you're thinking. Toxic girl, right? No. I'm gonna put Chrissy in Scene Girls because I think that she was absolutely in that vibe for a while. I can 110% see this woman vibing to Cascada. Chrissy has such that vibe of her that like we all know that she is now trying to lean into the toxic girl aesthetic, but now she knows that her past hidden behind her was fully Scene Girl, and I want her to bring it back out. Honestly, I think that that was a good look for her. I think that she should keep doing it. I think that that was her home, and I'm sad that she's moved away from it, but Chrissy, I hope you heal. Hot Topic still has arm warmers, and I did just order some of them. Eric. Yeah. Hipster, absolutely. I'm sorry, but could you not see him sporting a mustache wallet? I had this mustache wallet when I was younger that was fully made out of paper from like Spencer's. I don't know why I was allowed to get it from Spencer's, but he definitely had that exact wallet. He was like absolutely one of those people who would talk about Edgar Allan Poe like it was the best thing he's ever heard and that he was the only one who's ever read it. So you should go read Edgar Allan Poe, by the way, because it's really intellectual and you will really learn a lot, and I think you will come out of it with a bigger brain. He was one of those motherfuckers, absolutely. He told me how to braid my hair when he had 2 inches of hair. This fucker. Eric, oh my god, get out of people's business. I'm begging you. Nobody asked you. Nobody gives a shit, Eric. Bo. Oh my god, this is hard. This is so hard. I love Bo. He's a really sweet baby. He's one of like the poster children for Animal Crossing, I would say. Almost everybody loves Bo. And I think that would translate Tumblr-wise to Bo being super hulock. Is that an insane thing to say? I feel like he would be super hulock, to be quite honest with you. those people were so goddamn obsessed with it, and I feel like he could have been a really good writer. You know how when you were younger you read like that one fan fiction that was like actually really well written, and now you think of it as like kind of a piece of artwork and you can't get it out of your head fully, but it was about two grown men? Yeah, that's what he did. This guy was absolutely the writer of that. Okay, he has a Ko-Fi now where he does art commissions, and I think that almost everybody who does commissions now, correct me if I'm wrong, was on Tumblr during this era, and I think he would have catered to Super Hulock quite a lot, but been one of the more normal, less rabid people, because there were less rabid people. Absolute Super Hulockian. I'm proud of him, honestly. I hope that his fanfiction.net anthology is fully preserved for the years to come. Flora, whose head is also cut off right now, thank you so much to this tier list. Wow, yay. Oh my god, Flora's hard, honestly. I feel like I can't get a read on her. I want to like look at her and really feel what's in her skin, but I just can't. Her eyes are so empty. I feel like she could have anything hiding under there. She's a good person to have a really dark past because you would not be able to tell at all. Oh, I just wiped off my eyebrow. Fuck. Oh my god, I have like nothing for her. She could go anywhere. I'm gonna go with fake story producer. Hear me out, okay? She would have a very creative mind, and you really need that to be a good fake story producer. I think that she could really come up with some good shit posts and get super popular. I think Alexandria's Genesis would be a good example of something I think she would come up with. She has those kind of vibes. I feel like she's a bartender now. She's very into liquor. I think that this girl isn't jaded by her Tumblr past though. I think she thinks of it as a wild ride, but it never really changed her because she was just leeching off of the fame of it for a little while to get her serotonin and then left it behind when she had a better life coming ahead. She really did win. She got what she wanted. I feel like she really got a lot of attention on Tumblr. Sky. I didn't know Sky was that popular of a villager. I mean, I love her. I think she's so cute, but I didn't know that she like existed in that sphere. She has kind of a look to her that she doesn't take as much bullshit as everybody else does, but I don't think it's in the social justice way. I think it might be in the bone stealing witch kind of area. I think that she's one of the more pastel witchy people. She's like into the pastel goth kind of aesthetic, or she used to be at least. She had one of those super pastel pink like hair colors that was tied into a ponytail with a black ribbon choker around her neck. Not in the toxic girl way, but specifically in the witch way. Okay, there was a difference. There was a difference between the grunge aesthetic and the toxic girl aesthetic, okay? Listen to me. I need to go to jail. I feel like she definitely would be into like tarot card reading and that kind of stuff. Very newbie witch kind of stuff, but at the same time, she was very interested in the lore. She was interested in all of the books and everything that there was to learn. She was very interested in becoming more well-versed in it, but she was sharing her journey. Everybody loved that. They latched onto her quickly. Sky, proud of you, babe. Bone stealing witch for the win. Marina. We all know where this bitch goes. I'm sorry. We all know. Toxic girl is getting pretty full. It's Marina. Okay, we all know. She's literally named after Marina and the Diamonds. She's not, but like, isn't she though? She's done so many things. She's stolen so many street signs, and I'm really proud of her for that, to be quite honest with you. I think she's pulling it off, but she, in her heyday, was very much on MySpace before she went to Tumblr as well. Stitches. Ooh. Okay. I think Stitches would probably end up in Scene Girls, to be quite honest. This is very reminiscent of the Invader Zim style, I would say to you, like the animation style. I think he's gonna have to go in Scene Girls. I think that Stitches would absolutely be like super into the flashing lights, making OCs, that kind of shit. That's a very Stitches thing to see, I believe. And honestly, I think that he hasn't fully grown out of it. He's still letting his childhood thrive, which I'm very proud of him for. You know, it makes you a better functioning adult to have a healthy inner child. So I think he's doing that. And I think that he also was probably one of the people involved with DashCon. He definitely would have gone to DashCon. He was posting shit that said like Tumblr University on it. This was the DashCon motherfucker, and he kind of looks like the ball pit to me. I'm just saying. Tangy. Okay. This bitch is going into Divergent, Hunger Games, The Fault in Our Stars, etc. You cannot fault me for this one. She would absolutely be like, I fight like a girl, you know? Everybody used to say that. I understand exactly what's going through her head right now, and it is malice for the person she used to be, but she also accepts it, you know? She was obsessed with specifically Catching Fire. I would say she hated all of the Twilight girlies for a while. Everything she did was to make her look like the bigger person, and she's finally past that, and I'm really proud of her. I think she also definitely could have been one of those people who like made the edits of Emma Watson. You remember those that were like super crinkly and crunchy? Cherry. Fucking obviously. Sorry. Do I have to explain it? Do I genuinely have to explain that to you? Me and her were in the same boat our entire lives, and that's why we grew up to be the same kind of person, okay? Cherry is just a lot more confident with me. I feel like she had a lot more like drugs in her system at the time, and now she's a lot better for it. I'm kidding, don't do drugs. Especially not the kind of drugs everybody was doing at that time. Anka. Oh my god. Okay. Jesus Christ. Anka could be an absolute Tumblr netizen. She could be a Tumblr deity, okay? Everybody would have worshipped Anka on Tumblr. I know this full well. Anka gives me vibes that like her Tumblr phase was probably pretty short because she got very mature very fast and moved on from it and actually didn't stay in the cesspool for long, but I feel like she was on there for a bit, and I feel like the reason she was on there was to post aesthetic shit, which to me would fall under hipster. You can disagree all you want, but I feel like she definitely would have posted like beautiful champagne glass pictures and stuff and being like in with the girlies, and then everybody kind of moved on from that and started shit posting and she left. And I'm glad that you moved on, but this was a terrifying cesspool for a while, and she was there, okay? Trust me, she didn't escape it. Nobody could. Francine is a current Tumblr user, absolutely, and I know that she has that very uncanny resemblance to Chrissy because they're sisters, but I feel like she had a different vibe to her and that she has been on Tumblr for a long time and she has no plan on leaving. I feel like back in the day she was probably a little bit more toxic girl or possibly social justice-y. I could see social justice a lot. She was very, very active, had really strong opinions. She was really, really into the whole arguing scene, debate scene. That was a really big thing. She was like doing shipping arguments and stuff. I feel like she was definitely there, but I think that she stayed on Tumblr and now she posts pictures of rocks that she finds outside and everybody just eats it the fuck up. Kiki, oh my god. The obvious choice for Kiki would be Bone Stealing Witch, but I think honestly Kiki reminds me definitely of Super Hulock 100%. I think that she was really into Dean at the time. Like Dean was the person that she really put her entire soul into, but she could have dabbled in witchcraft, to be honest. Pietro, oh my god, I love him. First of all, Pietro, come home with me, baby. I want you on my island so bad one day. You're just a scary ass little bitch ass clown and I'm so proud of you. This guy is honk fucking crazy. Pietro's gonna go to Bone Stealing Witch, I think he has to. I'm sorry, but I think it has to be done. Pietro is very much somebody who I would expect to have a lot of creepy ass shit in their house, like one of those people who collects baby dolls. I think that that was very much something that he could have been involved with, and that was a lot of creepy like found objects culture for Tumblr. I think that that was a big thing for a while, and I feel like he definitely would have a username like intestinal blockage or whatever. I don't know. He seems like he's into the creepy. He seems like he's into the macabre, and I think that that's why he would fit in so well in Bone Stealing Witch. Oh my god, Bob. Jesus Christ, it's fucking Bob. Okay, Bob was absolutely hipster. Absolutely 100%. He had a beanie. He had those weird ass glasses. He was very much into like the whole Cole Sprouse thing. He thought Cole Sprouse was like a visionary and was very disappointed when he turned out to not be. He probably dabbled a little bit in the arena of poetry, which you could technically say was Ripler, but I think he was doing it in a hipster way. He was a photographer. He had like a really old vintage camera that he called like Stacy or something. I think that he was an absolute hipster. 100% Bob. Thank you. Tia. Oh my god, Tia, my beloved, an absolute angel. She is so cute. I really love Tia. If I had room for her on my island, Tia would be a girly that I would love to invite. She's hard. Okay, you know what? Honestly, she seems like really kind. She seems really sweet, but I don't know if that came from a place of like original malice and she healed from it, or if that was like always within her, because if it was always within her, it was probably Hunger Games. I could see Tia absolutely having like a Fault in Our Stars blog for sure, like that really tender romance focused one where she just wanted a nice boy who would never take advantage of her, that kind of thing, but she ended up being gay later on in life. We all did it. The Fault in Our Stars, Divergent, Hunger Games, absolutely that kind of girl. I think that she would thrive up there, and I think that maybe once in a while she still goes back and looks at the cover of her Paper Towns book and she still watches John Green on TikTok. Ketchup, social justice. Okay, listen to me. You can't tell me that she was not on social justice Tumblr. Absolutely. She's the kind of person who really likes getting into fights, which I love for her. I think that's fantastic. But I think that Ketchup was also really involved in the scene of just like, she had like every single word she could put as a buzzword in her bio. She was doing her best, okay? She was fighting for her life on that goddamn website. She had a perfectly color-coded blog. She spent hours making her homepage look good. Her dash was filled with like strategically reblogged shit. Tumblr needed Ketchup, and Ketchup needed Tumblr. It was a very symbiotic yet unhealthy relationship for a long time, and now she just works at Kohl's. Diana, I need you to hear me out. I need you to hear hear me out, okay? I desperately need you to hear me out. Diana was in Scene Girls, okay? Absolutely. She was very, very into Scene, but specifically like the darker kind of Scene era. I feel like she definitely would have known Cherry. She was in Cherry's general area at that time. She had like a very specific aesthetic that was sad and like lonely and melancholy at all times, but she ended up growing out of that and just kind of learning to see the good in things. And now she's a very much self-sufficient human being, but she really lived in her sadness for a while, and I think that gave her the ability to really process her emotions well. I'm proud of her. Now she would be considered more of the toxic girl aesthetic. Meringue was on Ripler, prove me fucking wrong. She had like a romance novel plot that she kept sharing to everybody and was like, read my beta, and then when you clicked on it to read her beta, it was like barely finished. It had 2 words in it, and she was like, so what do you think? And it's like, no, I can't do anything with that, I'm so sorry. Meringue absolutely donated to Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles when the Kickstarter was going around. Her blog has been deleted now because she's very embarrassed of it. 100%. Like, it is gone. A lot of these people, I think their blog would still be up. Her blog is gone 100%, and it would affect her career. It would affect all kinds of stuff because she was really bitchy on there. Anybody with that really cutesy sweet aesthetic is going to be a little bit bitchy on Tumblr. That was just what you did. So I think that she got out pretty unscathed, to be quite frank. Like, she did good. She really came out of that clean and alive, and I'm proud of her for that. Rosie. I feel like she could fit into any fandom space. Quite honestly, I feel like she was very fandom obsessed. She gives me Percy Jackson vibes, to be honest with you, but at the same time, I could also see her being into very Scene kind of style. So I don't know. It's hard for me to place her here. Rosie is such an enigma. She was so important to Animal Crossing that I feel like she has been molded into many different forms. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in Super Hulock, just for shits and gigs, because that was the biggest, and I feel like she would have definitely had a presence and kind of drifted over there whether she wanted to or not. Her presence was probably very needed in those spaces, and she was like one of the respected elders because that was a thing. Goldie. This is interesting to me because I feel like I could absolutely put her in current Tumblr user. I think that she's a pretty well-adjusted adult, to be honest with you, but this is like her dirty little secret. She still goes on Tumblr. I feel like she's very much on like the side of Tumblr where it's baking fresh bread, it's taking care of yourself, it's self-care Tumblr, which does exist surprisingly, even though that website is made to break you down to the bone. It doesn't work though. They just say take your meds every 2 seconds, and she's on that Tumblr, and she kind of thinks that it doesn't work, but at the same time, she just kind of wants to help people in any way she can. Goldie, I love you dearly. Dom. Jesus Christ. Dom is giving hipster to me. Okay, listen, you gotta trust me with this. Dom would absolutely be a hipster. I think that he would lean kind of more to the hipster that was like trying not to be a hipster and said that they weren't a hipster. Like, he was just really into reading and being quiet and looking out and going on nature walks and, you know, hunting down squirrels to take pictures of. I think that he was very that. He was trying to peel himself away from the hipster stereotype, but he just ended up drilling him closer into it because he was pretentious about it. I think that his most used photo filter was sepia for a while, and I think that he is never gonna live that down. He's trying to be an influencer now, but it will never ever work because this haunts him. Julian. We all know where Julian was. We all fucking know it. Okay, Scene Girls. He was 303's biggest fucking fan. He went to every rave. He has done Molly more times than you have hugged your mother. He is like a retired raver now, but he has so many good stories to tell, and now he like teaches at a local elementary school and makes sure that they don't go to raves. Imagine seeing a toddler at a rave. I think that would be fun, actually. Like, if it was a safe rave. There's like a Shrek rave going on by me, and I wish I could go. Octavian. Fucking Ripler. Swear to God. This guy would throw me down a well for not writing the exact amount of blood and liters that came out of my character after they were stabbed. Like, this guy is a fucking stickler. This is not your space. He was like too old to be on Tumblr too. Like, he's an older man now. At the time, he was too old to be on Tumblr. He just wanted to like share his expertise, but his expertise is really just bitchiness, and he's not helping anybody. Melba. My baby. She's such a sweetheart. She just reminds me of like marshmallows. She is such an adorable, sweet, kind little fucking baby. I love her so much. This girly was absolutely a part of fucking Divergent, Fault in Our Stars, Hunger Games. She was up there. She was living her life. I think she found a new side of herself from that. I think that she would actually have gone into archery after watching that and found that she really enjoys it. I think that she's somebody who learned a lot from that situation. I think that she was good at writing fan fiction, but not good enough that it ever got picked up, so she was like super quiet and meek about it and never got recognized or anything. She was a pretty casual blogger for that, and I'm proud of her. You know, that's how you get out unscathed, I guess. Sure. I'm gonna say that Sherb was a fake story producer. He gives that kind of vibe. I mean, he's constantly writing alibis and shit. I think he could come up with a couple good fake stories, but I feel like he was on the more believable side of things, like something that a 14-year-old could have probably believed pretty well instead of one that was immediately recognizable as fake or whatever. And I think that he tried to have good morals at the end of his stories and stuff. That was a big theme with Tumblr fake stories, is they had to have a good moral, and he was really banking on that. He was trying to like the brothers Grimm it. It was really interesting. I think it was a good side hobby for him because it really helped his creative skills, and now he knows a lot about things that he shouldn't know about. Drago is a current Tumblr user. Absolutely. He is too cool to not be a current Tumblr user, and I mean that like negatively. I think that he has too much on his plate right now. He has too much to show, and now he's paying for it, and I think he stays on Tumblr because of that. He's one of those people who invents like the new fucking like horse plinko memes or whatever, or EBDB. He's one of those people. He has studied the craft and he knows how to do it well, okay? This guy is a certified shit poster, 100%. Drago, we salute thee. I love him, and I'm glad that he is still providing memes for everybody else to steal to this day. Molly, shit. Where would Molly have been? I think that Molly could have been social justice, but she was on like the softer side of it. She was very like, love yourself. We need better mental health care in the country, which is like a good side to be on for sure. But she is too sweet to be on the super hardcore side of it, but she was definitely still like thinking she needed to speak up and do something, you know? She was really into that everybody has to contribute kind of era of time, and I think that she really put her all into it, and it tired her out pretty quickly. It was really easy for her to get burnt out on that, but she really didn't know what she was talking about because she was about 13 at the time, and I'm proud of her for that. I love when 13-year-olds say shit that they don't know about, because I used to do that, and that was my favorite thing to do. Just talk about anything that I had no grasp on, because people would get so mad at me. Cookie, my beloved. Okay, Cookie, toxic girl for sure, and it's because one of the posts that went viral on Tumblr, she is a Tumblr celebrity, was the Cookie dating letters post. So I think that she was toxic in that letter, by the way. And also, she's just got the good aesthetic going on. She's got the really soft, sweet, but like sharp and razor bladey vibe to her. I think that she would absolutely be there, but also we all love and revere Cookie in the Tumblr community because she is so important to our past. Wild World, when she shared those letters about the crush, it was insane, you know? It was really insane. It was a moment. It was a turning point for the Animal Crossing community. I love Cookie. I'm glad that she is a good representation of a former toxic girl, and probably still is toxic, actually. I don't think she changed that much. Filbert, super hulock motherfucker. Absolutely. I'm sorry. Look into his eyes and tell me that he wasn't there the entire time. I think he was more involved in Sherlock. He thought it was like the peak of television, and he like knew all of the code words and stuff. He was into like the John Locke conspiracy, that kind of shit, really creepily into it. Like that takes a lot of dedication, so you know what, good for you, but I think that he regrets it deeply. He has those thoughts every day. He remembers his past and he will not forget it. Good job, Filbert, really, good job. Proud of you. That is our Tumblr tier list. Oh my god. I hope that you had fun learning about all of these different subcultures, or reminiscing on your past, depending on what side of the coin you're on here. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with my rankings here, so let me know if you have a different idea, or if one of your villagers gave off different vibes once you had them. Let me know if this was something you enjoyed. I know I'm not doing ranking videos anymore, so I wanted to kind of do something in the same vein, but new and exciting and fresh. I have to go cook my dinner. It's getting late, and House of the Dragon is on in like 20 minutes, so I will see you later. Stay safe, stay wonderful. Thank you guys for tagging around. I'm proud of you, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, and I like your shoelaces.